Welcome to my next video. My name is Tara Jenkins. I am an artist, a creative facilitator, and a mentor. This is the second YouTube video I've ever made, and I'm excited to share with you, to share more parts of myself, of my art, to connect, to express, to expand. This conversation sort of went in an intuitive direction today. I initially set out to talk about something in particular and it went on the journey. So please enjoy, please connect, share this video, and let me know how it resonates with you. This morning I was feeling the motivation to finally sit down and do this. It's definitely been a bit over a month, but if we're going month to month, it's still July. So this video is going to come out as the July video of the month. And I was thinking in my head this morning while I was walking, I was like, oh yeah, and I can talk about this, or I think I'll just intuitively see where this goes. And in my head, it's a lot easier, but suddenly sitting down in front of a camera, getting myself all ready and doing all the checks and making sure everything is looking good, there's this anxiety, and this is where we were before in the first video, but we are here to meet it again, to move through the discomfort, to let my nervous system ultimately know that it is safe. I am not sitting in front of a lion about to eat me right now. I am sitting in front of a camera that is doing nothing, and essentially I'm just staring down a lens talking to myself. What is scary about that? But apparently to the nervous system, there are a lot of inner threats. There's the threat of being seen for who you are. There is the threat of exposing your vulnerability, exposing who you are and these parts of yourself that are uncomfortable to you, all the little twitches and discomforts and expressions and your natural spark. That is vulnerable. So that wasn't necessarily the intention of this video, but this is just where I'm at, and I am committing myself to being authentic in these videos, to being authentic online, because there is such an ocean of content that we consume and watch and see every single day that I just want to make this as human as possible, not only for you, but actually for me as well. So this doesn't have to be a performative process. It doesn't have to be a process that I'm trying to perfect myself and figure out exactly what I'm going to say, but that I just get to sit here and express. Because when we are in our true expression, that is actually where the best version of ourselves comes out. It's where the natural flow of what we want to say, of what our heart wants to say, actually comes out, and not just what the mind is saying. So I can feel right now in my body that the mind and the heart is like doing this little dance of like, no, but aren't we going to say this? And isn't it supposed to go this way? And the heart is like, can we be patient? Can we be patient with this for a second? Can we be loving to myself in this process? This is the second time I've made a YouTube video. Like, why? We're so hard on ourselves. I'm so hard on myself. I don't know if it's anyone else, but it's just a part of this process that is the becoming of who I am as well, because the more I do this, the more I get comfortable with just who I am anyway. And we're putting it out on the internet just to connect with other people. But really, putting myself out on the internet, just like I mentioned in my first video, is about connection. It's really about kind of being myself in this other realm of connection. You know, I feel so much more at ease in social situations now, or in just in my general community, to show up as I am, in my weird self, in my just being who I am, and feeling uncomfortable on any given day, or feeling joyful on any given day, or facilitating an art workshop and stepping into my leadership. There's so many roles I get to play in person and that I also get to feel through this community. But the social media lens, the online lens, kind of opens up a new realm of this connection. So my nervous system is getting more and more at ease with this connection. And actually, something that I wanted to say was that recently I've been finding more breakthrough in this process, actually, with doing like phone content. So no, I wasn't filming on my camera, but I have been using social media and content creation as an exercise, as a practice for myself over the past few years. And each time it opens up something new in myself. And I'm still learning where I feel the most free when I do it. I'm peeling back the layers of, why am I thinking I need to say things a certain way or show up a certain way or perform, or why am I taking so long to edit this video? Like, do I really want it that way? Like, catching myself in the thought process of, what is my goal here? Is the goal here to try and perfect something for someone else? Or is the goal here to feel good in myself and express and let that be received? Because that's what I keep coming back to, that feels the best, because I get to be more of myself. Now, I can definitely practice and be in these discomforts that allow me to get better at other things. If I want to talk specifically about something, or, say something to the camera that I intend to share about my work, I'm going to get better at that. But also, the connection is through human connection, even though we're on a screen. So that's where we're at. But where I came back to with that was, I've been having these breakthroughs by literally just setting up my phone on this tripod and just turning it on and speaking intuitively, literally just doing it like a journal entry and seeing what happens. Because giving that space to my nervous system is very important to initially meet the anxieties that are here. And this is for anyone else watching as well that desires to connect. I highly recommend to just set up your camera, even if you can't see yourself. I just check that it looks good, check the microphone if you have one, and then just let it play and see what comes out. Journal entry about how you're feeling. I mean, this is what I'm doing now, and whether or not it's entertaining to you or engaging is not currently my priority, because I'm still learning and feeling my way into this new expansion, into this new space that I'm taking up of being on the internet, or putting ourselves out there, any one of us online. So the breakthroughs I've been having have been in just setting it up and talking. And I have a bunch of videos now that over the course of the time that I'm recording, something suddenly comes out. I'll be speaking just like I am now, and it's like, oh yes, that feeling or that thought or that thing. And then I can speak about it naturally, because my mind has sort of opened up this flow. It's how we get into the flow with art. Initially, we might not always feel like we want to do it, or it's like we procrastinate, we just put things off. And really, this goes with anything. But we have to move through the initial discomfort of just sitting ourselves down or whatever we're doing and showing up. Showing up to the work is half the work. So whether or not this video feels successful to me or not, I've shown up to the work, and my intention has been to show up to this, to create a video every month, to put myself here on this platform and see what happens, mostly for the growth of myself as well. So it's a really valuable tool to use in all aspects of life. And I've found it leaves me with such a rewarding feeling. I've gone into it kind of like, closed off and, okay, I don't want to be here. What am I going to say? And then I've opened up and I've engaged and I've felt something, and then it's resonated with my business or something I'm offering, and I can speak from that place. So if there's something that you want to talk about, whether it's just sharing yourself online, sharing your story, sharing your art, allow yourself to get into yourself first, not into the person or the people you are expecting to judge you, the people that you are expecting to speak to. Because really, when we constantly judge ourselves, we're trying to predict what another person is going to think of us. We're trying to predict how they'll view us. And really, we can't control that. We can't control anyone's outside perception of us. We can only control and commune with our own inner world. And the more that feels good within ourselves, the more we're also going to speak to the people that we want to speak to, the more that we're going to connect with our audience, connect with our clients. And this is the journey that I am on right now. And that's my current wisdom on it, because it has just been where I've felt the underlying truth of what it means to be here, what it means to show up to this. Because I'm not an actor, and I don't want to be an actor on this space. I think it's kind of what social media has turned into, because so many people are really talented actors. Some people are really talented and skilled, or they've worked on their skill at showing up to that version of themselves. And it's not going to be for everyone that we are acting on here. You know, there can be great skills in that, in putting ourselves out, running a business, sharing about a product or a service, and acting not in a it's not a bad sense, but when we sort of expect ourselves to act, to perform, when we don't feel that readiness within ourselves, we're only acting for somebody else's benefit and not for our own. True acting, as far as I know, comes from within, and the better actors are feeling that within themselves. They're feeling the character, they're feeling that expression move through them. And if we're expecting ourselves to act something that we're not, or someone that we're not, we're abandoning ourselves. It doesn't mean to say there isn't a version of ourselves we would like to step into. This has been a part of my journey for a few years, is seeing this version of myself that I'd love to be. I'd love to feel like I can speak openly and express on camera, and wow, why is this so hard every time I sit down and start to record? But we have to be gentle with ourselves in that process, because there is going to be this rewiring of our nervous system. There's a rewiring of who we are in this new lens. We got to learn to take a breath. We got to learn to pause amongst all these moments. Have a cup of tea. So, I feel like in my first video, I didn't quite record it as like one long thing, which I'd hoped. My intention is that I do as minimal editing as possible because I don't want it to be performative. I actually don't want it to take up all this time. I want it to feel like I get to express, I'll tend to it and put it out there. I don't want to spend hours editing and refining something, because in that process I've noticed when I edit videos for my Instagram that takes me a long time, I'm trying too hard. I'm trying to over perfect something that has just gone out of my capacity. If it's gotten to the point that I'm feeling debilitated by it, sometimes, and a lot of the time, there will be, being a beginner, in this process. There will be spending the time, spending the hours learning about it. And that's a lot of what I have done as well. It's learning how to edit and how to do different things through this process. And it's a lot easier now. It's not as debilitating, but because I showed up to that discomfort initially. But ultimately, I'm not intending to make videos that constantly take me this huge chunk of time. And that's where I've been refining and feeling more of that inner attunement with my Instagram content, because some of them do take some time. Content does take time. It takes time, and it also doesn't have to. So it's kind of this, it's just this journey. I don't know why it just looks like this, you know, it's up and down. It's a bit wishy-washy sometimes, and it's a bit round and round, but it also can be a bit of a dance, and it can be a bit fun. And I'm learning to have fun with the process. I've been showing up to doing regular content on both my dynamic drawing class page and my Tara Jenkins Studio original page. And yeah, it's for some reason like doing this is, I mean, we're sort of talking about social media now. So welcome to this video. We're 18 minutes in, and this is now the topic that we are exploring, and we will continue to chat about for however long this goes for. But where was I? We have a little dancing flame. Yes, social media content. So yeah, I found it easier for some reason working on the dynamic drawing content, because there's kind of a slight distance between me and this project. It's not me as the what's the word as the personality, maybe. Tara Jenkins Studio is the business and just the expression of me in what I do and what I offer in my art and creativity and other aspects of my life. And it's not sort of this separate business or product or something like that. And I often find it hard to make content because there's so many ideas and so many possibilities, and I have, this thing that I could market and talk about, and I am finding rhythms where I am creating content, or I am I'm showing up consistently, finding rhythms, and sometimes it'll feel like it's building up and it's going well, and I'm totally getting this, and then other days I'll suddenly abandon it and not know where to start, and it's been this constant roller coaster. Whereas with the dynamic drawing page, since I've started, I've had this like commitment to just marketing the class, because it's a class that is a weekly event. So I get to see the response in numbers every week. I get to see who shows up or who doesn't. And I'm marketing for one purpose, is to spread the word of the class. Whereas in my own content, there feels like too many avenues that I get overwhelmed with. And now, of course, I've added on YouTube. So but that is who I am, and that's what I'm embracing and trying to find more of what suits me and my nervous system in sharing that. So the dynamic drawing content, I have set myself a weekly task of an Artist of the Week video, which has been really beautiful for the community, for all of us to connect with someone in the class. And I've shown up to creating that video once a week alongside reels and posts, and just keeping that consistency. So I'll probably post about 4 times a week potentially, and that just feels good. I can switch off from that and I can let that be there, and I have an easier inspiration with that. Whereas with my Tara Jenkins Studio, there's so many layers, and this is where the layers come in with, it's like the perception of ourself that we have, the layers that we've kept of, we can't do that thing, we can't put ourselves out there, or Like, so much of it is blinding. So much of it is subtle as well. And this is something I was speaking about in a video I recorded last week, which just came out. And I'll share a little bit here. And it's about this energy of sort of polarity that I've been exploring in my life. And when you look at a magnet, you feel a magnet. You can feel when it comes together and it just wants to come together. And you flip them and they're kind of rubbing up against each other and they just don't want to go together. But it's only the subtleties that brings it back to coming back into that. And that's just what I've been referring to with this connection back to ourselves, to this expression or whatever we desire, is there's these subtleties that initially feel like they're so far away, and there's this force that's like, oh, I just can't get there. Why is it all the way over there? But really it's in the subtle attunement of turning back in that just naturally brings that magnet back together. And I felt that in my art. I felt that in so many aspects of my life. If I'm sitting in my studio and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do this thing, or I want to do art and I just don't know where to start, even though I have a million ideas. There's always feeling like there's this disconnect, but it's not a disconnect. It's just an aspect of myself that I've just put on the shelf for a second. And as soon as I start drawing or start painting, something shifts, something opens up, and it allows me to connect with that realm. And this is why I'm sharing about how important it is to just show up to the process anyway and see what happens, no matter what you're doing. Because when we show up into that discovery, we will learn what it means to connect with ourselves in that authentic moment. And this is where the medicine is. It's not about showing up perfectly. It's not about showing up and getting all your ducks in a row. It's about showing up with what's authentic to you in that moment. If you're having a crap day, if you're busy and you've got a million things on, but you just want to connect with your creative side for 10 minutes a day, if you want to launch that creative project, it's the authenticity of connecting with what's there first. Maybe you'll begin with journaling. Maybe you'll begin with some creative scribbles or dancing or expressing yourself, because expression is what's going to bring us into that authentic space. Our authenticity is our natural magnet. Our authenticity is our natural light. But we've put all these layers or blindfolds on of, well, I can't be this certain way, or I must show up to please someone else, or I must keep myself small, or it's scary to share myself. Noticing what stories might be there without latching onto them. Because as I said, this polarity energy, the story feels like, no, it's not going to budge. It's so far away. And it's the subtlety of going into that, into our expression, that opens up to like, oh my gosh, okay, wait, I can have fun here. I can connect here. And it might not initially feel joyful, but it's this process of discovery. And this is what my work is with art. This has been the journey that I've been on through art, through running a business, through sharing myself online. And this is equally what I'm here to share about, because what is a service but the journey that you go on, learn from, and then get to teach another? We're all learning, we're all evolving, we're all growing constantly, and we're sort of just helping each other along the way. And this is something that, I think I'll talk more about my creative journey in another video. I had actually intended to talk about it today, but for some reason we just went here, and that was my expression today. That was my authenticity. So I'm honoring that, because I think there's something important here. There's something important to share, and maybe there's something important that you needed to hear. And I think for a lot of you that have been watching me on this space or seeing me, it's been online a lot as well. And sharing the authenticity of how this journey has been for me as well is sharing that it is not always sunshine and rainbows, but it is showing up to those difficult moments, showing up to myself even when I don't feel like it, and watching the magic happen. It's the magic of what discipline really means. The word discipline is actually come from the word disciple. And to me, what that means is to be a disciple to your higher self, or to be a disciple to what you believe in, to your goals, to your art, your craft. To be a disciple is to show up with that reverence, with that love, with that commitment. But it's not binding and it's not rigid. It's with devotion. And showing up to this camera, this practice, is showing up to my devotion of who I am and who I am becoming. It's showing up to these difficult moments, to being authentic and sharing myself. Because, yeah, ultimately, doing this for me is about coming home deeper to myself, to share and run a business that feels like me, not to create a mold of something that isn't me. And I think, and I believe, that's where that true power lies that we've forgotten a lot. We think we have to mold and shrink ourselves to someone else's version, or we have to create a different version of ourselves in order to be liked, in order to be accepted, in order to be worthy or successful. And I trust and I know that that is not the truth. As much as these blinding and these debilitating thoughts hold on us, it's not my truth. And this will probably be another segment of a video as well, in talking about business and what that means to me, and sharing myself with the world, in the sense that it's me ultimately. So anyway, where do we go with that? I've lost my train of thought. We're getting to half an hour, so that's pretty good. I'm going to wrap up soon. But I'm just going to feel in for a moment if there's any other questions or thoughts around this topic. And let it settle into my nervous system. Maybe you even want to take a second yourself to let anything settle into your nervous system, any activations, any inspirations, or just thoughts. Letting the breath rise and fall as it needs to. And this can be a part of the practice too, before we show up, before we share, is having silence, having connection to our own breath, to our own body before we begin, because we are allowed to do that. We might still feel like we're jumping off a cliff into the deep end, but we can still take a breath before we do that. Yeah. I think there's so much that activates in me when I come into my expression, into my authenticity. And it's where all these ideas come of, I want to talk about this, or I want to share about this, because expression is also a therapy for me too. It's like, oh, right, yeah. Let my wings open, let myself be myself. All these ideas, all these creative things that are bubbling and moving inside me, they also want to get out and express. And there's a lot of beautiful things that I would love to share and offer more. Connection to this deeper state, to this meditative state, is also something I'd love to share. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Please feel free to leave any comments or questions about anything you'd like me to talk about. It might spark something that's already there. Let me know how any of this resonated with you. I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to connect. And yeah, I'm really grateful if you made it to the end of this video. I look forward to doing it again, to showing up to this discomfort and seeing what happens. But for now, I'll leave it there. Woo! Celebrate yourself also. That's a part of the process. Celebrate the journey, celebrate the completion of something that you just did that was difficult. Oh.